there, stamping friends and card makers. It's Jackie Balhais from Clomp & Stampers. I have a super fun project for you today. It's called a double one-sheet wonder. Now, I've used the term one-sheet wonder before and done some videos with that. It simply means taking a piece of designer series paper or maybe a piece of paper that you stamped and you cut it up to make several cards. Well, today's is called a double one-sheet wonder because we're using two pieces of designer series paper. Now you'll notice these are 6 by 12. So we actually have a half a sheet of designer series paper, but we're using two different prints, which gives us essentially 4 different prints that we're going to be able to mix and match on the 11 cards that we're going to make, with this being the main focal point. All we need to do is add a greeting after we've cut up our designer series paper. Now, I have a chart for you, and I will have it over on the blog post that you'll be able to download and print out, and it will show you exactly how to cut the designer series paper. And then it'll also have pictures of the 11 cards that I'm going to show with you today that I make using what I cut up with this designer series paper. Now you'll find that download over on the blog post that goes with this video. There'll be a description, down in the description of the video. I always say down because it's usually down there, but wherever your video description shows up on your device, there will be a link to take you over to that blog post on my website. And there'll be a button to click on. Click here to download and print. And you'll be able to print that chart as well as the pictures. This is a super fun project to use up some of that designer series paper that maybe you're not quite sure what to do with it, or it's been sitting around and it just needs some love. So I hope you like this project. We're gonna just start out by cutting. Now don't worry, you don't have to write the measurements down. They're on that diagram that you're going to be able to go download after you watch the video. So you ready? Let's flip the camera down and let's start cutting up our designer series paper so I can show you how to make 11 cards. Are you ready to see how to make the 11 cards? Now this is a great project for those of you that are brand new to card making, or if you've been making cards for a long time, it's perfect just to whip up a whole bunch at one time and use up some of that designer series paper. Now the paper I'm using is a little hidden gem in the catalog because it's way back here on page 179, and it's called Design a Daydream. This is actually a pack of paper, and there's a misprint on some of the catalogs, the older ones. It says 12 sheets. It's actually 40 sheets. So you get this giant package of designer series paper, and it's one of the items you can select with Stampin' Rewards if you place an order that's at least $100. So I wanted to just point out where that is because it's a great thing to pick up when you place that larger order. But remember, this can be done with any designer series paper. You just need 2 sheets that are 6 by 12. And you're going to want to pull them from the same package so that, everything coordinates. And I kind of went through the package and I found where I like that all 4 sides coordinated because we're going to be mixing and matching the pieces. So the cutting is really simple. I like to cut it at the same, like the 2 pieces at the same time. If you are not super accurate or you struggle with paper sliding when you're cutting it, just cut one at a time. You don't have to cut them both at the same time, but in the long run, they're gonna get cut exactly the same. So when you look at that diagram, it's going to just show, how to cut it, either cut it, together or each one separately. So we're going to start out and we're going to cut this into 3 sections. And the first section is going to be 4.5. Okay, so we'll stick that right there. And then the next one is going to be 4. And then that will leave us a piece that's 3.5. Okay, so we're going to just kind of keep these separate here. And we're going to come back to this one that was 4.5. Now, like I said, and I'll just give you a peek here. I'm almost out of ink in my printer, so this looks horrible. It's actually a nice light gray, so it's easy to print. So you can see here, we've cut these 3 sections. Now, we're going to take each one of these sections and cut it up. So the first thing we're going to do with this 4.5 one is we're going to flip it on its side, and we're going to cut it into 2 equal pieces at 3. Okay. Then we're going to just spin it back this way, and we're going to cut this into 1.5 inch strips. So we're going to go 1.5, keep those pieces together, and we'll come over here to 1.5. This one will equal 1.5 already. Just stack those up. As I cut these, I like to just stack up the same size pieces into a big stack. So there's 1.5, and then our last 1.5 here gives us all those pieces. Okay, so we can set those aside. There's our stack of 3 by 1.5s. Then we're gonna take the piece that was cut at 4, so we got 4 by 6, and we're gonna start out by just cutting a 3/4 inch strip off the top. So we got these 2 little pieces. We'll set those there, and then we're gonna spin it back this way, because now it should measure 5 1/4, and we're gonna cut this into 1 inch strips. So we have 1 and 1, and then we're gonna put it right in the middle there. Oop, this one's a little, gotta be careful on that one. There we go, and 1 and 1. So there's that piece. So we're just gonna set that right there. And then our final piece, which is 3.5 by 6, we're gonna go ahead and cut it first at 2 1/4, right? Yeah, double checking here, see if I don't wanna do it wrong. And then this piece, we're gonna do it at 2 1/4. And that will leave a piece here that is 1.5. If I turn it this way, I'm gonna cut it in half, which is 1 3/4. So this will give me 4 almost squares. Okay, they're very close to square, but they're 1/4 inch different. And then these pieces. And there we have all of our cutting. So let me show you now what you can do with these pieces. Okay, we're gonna make the first 2 sets of cards, we're gonna call them, as a group of 4. So we're gonna make 4 that are basically the same layout. And I have some coordinating colors here. I happen to use white, but you could use any color that coordinates with your designer series paper. And we're going to take the pieces that are 1.5 by 3. And these pieces are going to go 3 to a side. Now this is where, remember I said you can mix and match here. You want to just play around with your colors and figure out how do you want to lay all of them out. Now, I'll be honest with you, this sometimes drives me crazy because it's like, oh, how should we do it? So don't put too much thought into it, because you truly will drive yourself crazy. Let's see. See, I don't know what to do. There we go. They're all different. I try to make them. No, they're not all different. I try to make them all different, but it doesn't always work that way. Now I think they might be. So once you've figured out how you want to put those on there, you're going to just adhere them on there. And so we're going to kind of do a little bit of magic of TV here and bring in our finished cards. So for my cards, I use the framed floret stamp set. All I'm using is the greetings out of here. This has become one of my absolute favorite greeting sets. I use these all the time. And then I also use my stitch shapes or stylish shapes dies and the stitched rectangle dies. Ooh, mouthful. I use both of these all the time too. So the only stamping on my cards is the greeting, and then I cut it out with those dies. So you can see I did turn a couple of them, but you can see those layers that I put together here. And then I did wrap a piece of ribbon around it, did my greeting, cut it out with the dies, and pop that up with dimensionals. Easy peasy, and they're just on coordinating color card base. And then on the inside of all of them, I put a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white, which is what I like to do with all my cards. I like white on the inside, and then just stamp the greetings. And again, all the greetings are from that one stamp set. So there is the first set of cards that we're making with our double one sheet wonder. Now let's look at the second set. Now I told you we were making 11 total, so that was 4. Now for the next set of 4, we're gonna take our card base and we're gonna score it at 4 1/4, like we always do. But then we're also going to score it at 1 1/4. So right out there, put it down there. Okay, so we would do that with all 4 card bases, and then we will just fold these in half. So it's kind of a fun fold, okay? And then we're gonna fold that front flap back like so. Now I like to adhere it down. We're just going to use the Stampin' Seal on this. I don't use that adhesive very often, but something like this, it works great. And we're going to stick it down. You could leave it loose if you wanted, but I like it stuck down. And we would have 4 of these. And then we're going to take these longer strips, which were 5 1/4 by 1, and we're going to kind of play that same game. We're going to mix and match them, put one on the flap there and one on the inside edge, we'll call it. And then we're also going to take a piece of basic white and put that on the inside. So we have that nice little white spot, and then that will be what the base of our card looks like. And we'll do that for 4 of them. We have enough of those 1-inch strips for 4. So now let's look at the 4 that I made. So just like with that first set of 4, you can see how I mixed and matched the colors of the card base, just matching colors in that paper, mixed and matched the pieces. And then my greetings again are all stamped on just basic white and cut them out with either the stitched rectangles or those stylish shapes. And then I coordinated by stamping something on the inside as well. Now these, well, all 3 of these actually, I wrapped linen thread or ribbon around it and tied it in a bow. And with this one, I just put a little bow on there. So just trying to jazz them up a little bit with that little bit of ribbon. It's totally optional. You could even add some embellishments, or you could, really add whatever you want to these cards once you've designed that basic card with those pieces of designer series paper. So there's 4 more. So now we have 8. So the next 2, bringing us up to 10, I'll just show you the finished ones, because for these, you're going to take, you have 4 pieces of 3 1/2 by 2 1/4. And again, you can see how I just mixed and matched them. So we put that one with, well, I didn't really mix and match them now that I look at them. I used the same. Okay, you certainly, could mix and match these however you wanted. Okay, play around with them, whatever you want. I really liked the look of that. And then this little strip, the 4 by 3 1/4, we only have 2 of those. And this then is going to go right in the middle of those 2. So you can see how we put all 3 pieces on there. And then once again, just added our greeting in the inside. So that gives us 10 cards. And all we have left are 4 little almost squares. And for those, I just, again, it's my not really mix and match because we're only using 2. But again, we could do something like that. We could do something like that. If you didn't want flowers, that would make it more of a masculine card. But play around with those however you want. Just adhered those on there, and once again, just added a simple greeting. So there you have it, 11 cards. There's that one, and then those 2, and we started, let's see, this set of 4, and this set of 4. So I hope you like this project. It's really a lot of fun to play with mixing and matching those designer series papers. And it's just a fun way to kind of make a whole stack of cards, add whatever greeting you want on it. You might put all the same greeting. You might need a bunch of thank you, or you could do this for, any holiday. You could do all birthday cards. But it's just a lot of fun to start cutting that designer series paper, mix and match it, and put your cards together. So remember, use the link that's in the video description to go to the blog post, and over there you'll be able to download my document that I made for you. I don't always do this, but I thought I would give you just a nice cutting chart. It'll look better than this one because, like I said, my printer is out of ink, and it also shows you pictures of all the different cards so that you can easily make them. I hope you like that. I hope this is helpful. If you try it, make sure you leave me a comment and let me know what you think of it. I always love to hear if you like the projects I share with you, and most importantly, if you use the ideas to make cards and send cards. So thanks for watching, friends, and we'll be stamping again real soon. Have a stamp happy day.